Today in Breaking Bitcoin, search queries on Google for Bitcoin Golden Cross have reached epic proportions, while Bitcoin's price action struggles around like a squirrel in a sack. Binance goes down for maintenance as new conspiracy theories abound, and big movers ICX and Algo shoot for the stars. Are we about to break 11,000? Find out in today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Welcome back to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live in the studio. Today is Wednesday, February 19th, 2020, foul year of our Lord. Hopefully you all are doing fantastic, whether you're tuning in from YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or on Roku with the Investor News Channel app. If you want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in the live chat, and please hit that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. We've got a fantastic show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about the big movers of the day. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin's price action, obviously answering your user submitted questions. So if you have any questions for the Q&A section, make sure to post them in the chat, and the moderators will bring them to my attention. Premium group updates that I wanted to share with you guys. They are going to be right over here. Community mentoring session for advanced, professional, and elite members is today at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Invites have been sent out via Google Calendar as normal. Please let a staff member of the Discord know if you have not received an invitation, or email our help desk at support@crackingcryptocurrency.com. Looking forward to another session with you, gentlemen. How are we doing this morning? Let's see here. Other things that we want to talk about. Again, want to point your guys' attention to the signal delivery system for our new junior analysts. They are in the free signals in our Discord. Published 2 portfolios again for long-term holdings. Last week, aggressive and conservative. Aggressive is currently up 10%. Aggressive is currently up 10%, and the conservative is up 7%. Again, not bad growth for a Valentine's Day massacre. But with that being said, I want to hop right into the charts. There's so much to talk about, and all I hear is Golden Cross. So we're going to take a deep dive into the Golden Cross and see whether this is a valid signal to trade, and if it is, in what conditions should we trade it. So into today's Breaking Bitcoin analysis. Let's go. All right, here we are in the live scene. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. All right, so we got a lot of open trades going on. All right, so we're going to start off on the daily, and we're going to be utilizing the weekly multi-time frame feature. We're going to hide these lines, Curtin. We're going to use the multi-time frame feature of our CC EMA script. These are all public scripts that I'm going to show you, with the exception of time transformation down here on the bottom. And let's make sure we bring it all up. Okay, we're good here. We've got our moving averages set to 13, 21, 55, 100, and 200 on the SMAs over here. And we'll also set time transformation to the weekly. Okay. So just taking a look at weekly trends, utilizing daily price action. So Bitcoin's price currently trading at $10,175. We're on the Bitstamp chart right now, so we can view a little bit more historical trend data, especially as we're going to be looking at golden crosses today. We are currently printing a doji candle on the daily time frame, which is a classic indecision candle. Half of the market wants to move up, half of the market wants to move down, and we battle it out to see which side will gain supremacy. And with Bitcoin trading underneath the daily baseline, with Bitcoin trading underneath the daily baseline, we know it behooves us to stay cautious and hedged in this situation while Bitcoin fights to either regain the daily bullish trend, leading to another week of expansion, or whether it's going to continue to stagnate in consolidation, in which case not only will our shorts be more profitable, but so will our hedge be more protective. Now, we are trading above all major weekly moving averages, with our initial weekly supports coming in from 92. It's interesting, the difference here between the Coinbase chart and the Bitstamp chart. But here on the Bitstamp chart, coming in between 89 and 87. If we put the faster moving average, that's why. If we put the faster moving average on there in the form of the 8 exponential weekly moving average. We can see that support really starts at 9,000 down to 87, 86 here in the form of the weekly 21 exponential moving average, and stretching down to what I kind of consider the penultimate level of dynamic support and resistance on these higher time frames, which is the 55 exponential moving average, again here on the weekly time frame. That's sitting down at 81.50. I do not think that we're going to see, in the absence of a massive correction, price below that. Now, that is essentially shaping up to be the worst case scenario in the event of a more pronounced sell-off in the market, a retest of the 55 weekly exponential moving average, maybe the 100 simple moving average. In the case of a pronounced sell-off, that's going to be stretching down to $7,193. Now, we are in our fourth day of time transformation being overbought on the weekly time frame. And after we've accommodated to the current weekly trend better, after one cycle of Bitcoin being bid up and sold off, its metrics are now more reliable. Now, what I mean by that is that if we look at any momentum oscillator, if we look, let's take the breaking Bitcoin indicator off, and let's just zoom in here. So this is the 2019, early 2020 bottom that I'm showing on the chart right now. And as we can see, if you look at what any momentum oscillator is going to do, the very first time we break out of a range that has a certain level of volatility, a contracted level of volatility. So we spent a lot of time in consolidation, which we can see now was accumulation, right? Accumulation is what occurs at the bottom of market cycles, and that precedes a bullish run-up, okay? So we had a bullish run-up, but what do we notice is that our momentum oscillators, whether you're looking at the stochastic or the RSI, or something better like Minx or time transformation or a Z-Lima or something, anything besides the RSI, stochastic, please. Anything besides those things, we can see that they quickly get pinged. I mean, with that first big bullish candle that kind of rocked the market when we went from 4 to 5K almost overnight, very quickly within a matter of several hours, that pretty much tagged our momentum oscillators, pinged them into the overbought section. And what did we notice? We stayed overbought on the weekly time frame, and that led to that acceleration effect. So I've talked about, this is what I mean, is that depending on the volatility of the range that you're breaking out of will depend on how reliable your momentum oscillators can be for overbought and oversold conditions. This is why I say you want to be cautious with trading overbought and oversold conditions in cryptocurrency. But there's some nuance to it, right? If you're breaking out of a tight range and it's a large candle that's sending you either overbought or oversold, likely you can ignore that first signal and you can wait for some recovery. As we can see here, price just trades in overbought on the weekly time frame for a very long period of time, and it does the same thing on most momentum oscillators. And again, pointing something out, overbought signals in Bitcoin are more powerful, oversold signals are more powerful in Bitcoin than overbought signals. Again, Bitcoin is elevator up, stair steps down, meaning it moves up very rapidly, and then it takes a long time to knock that progress down. I've heard so many people say that it's the complete opposite, and I don't understand what they see when they look at the chart. So, because of that, we can see that Bitcoin has come out of its accumulation phase, had a nice run up, and been sold off to a newer, much smaller period of reaccumulation, right? Which we experienced down here at the 6,000, the higher 6,000s and the low 7,000s, this range between basically 7,700 and 6,700. This $1,000 range that we reaccumulated in underneath the 55 weekly exponential moving average before breaking back above the 55. And again, now we are trading above all major moving averages on the weekly time frame. Now we can still remain aggressively bullish, because remember that Bitcoin can experience an acceleration effect when our momentum oscillators go overbought on the higher time frames. However, with the daily trend being broken, it behooves us to remain cautious. A break of our trend gives us, now let me explain what I mean by that. So let's look at the current trending indicator that I'm using, also the baseline, depending on what baseline you gentlemen are using, gentlemen and ladies. If we break above that trend, again, that would give us all the reason in the world to charge back in and grip the horns of the bull again. Okay? But until that happens, it's best to stay on the sidelines. especially with a few other metrics that we're going to go look at. Wally saying, I don't know what you said, but I heard over bot signals are awesome, so buy a bot. Also, I bought the dip. I love you, man. I really do. Okay. So this is the daily time frame, daily doji candle currently. And basically, I think that we're going to talk about golden crosses here in a little bit, but I think that today's price action could very well represent today, the golden cross, the 50 simple moving average, and the 200 simple moving average. The crossover of the 50 over the 200 is going to be confirmed today on the daily time frame. Okay, so these are daily simple moving averages. Okay, the daily exponential moving average already occurred a while ago, and I think that's a better signal, but I digress. And we're going to be talking about golden crosses here in a little bit. But what I think is a potential here is that what today's price action could represent, if you're an individual who wants to look into the fundamental reasons behind price movements, is a lot of individuals bought up Bitcoin off these lows in anticipation of the golden cross, right? Savvy investors. And what we're experiencing now is the market trying to sell on them in anticipation, especially if you correlate this to just classical price action. We've had a first kind of larger volume sell-off off of this recent high, and we are currently experiencing a lower high so far. Now, again, if we break through to the upside, then we'll form a higher high, plus we'll also break back above the trend line, and that is a strong signal to go back in, full bore, aggressively bullish on Bitcoin. And shout out to individuals who are able to capture this kind of reversal price action to the upside. My hat is off to you. I think you want to be cautious with your position moving forward. We'll see over the next couple days how this plays out. I think, again, something that's also likely here is consolidation. What I'm really kind of looking for and why I'm going to choose to remain hedged at this point in time is this kind of sideways consolidation as money kind of pours more and more into the altcoins, because Bitcoin dominance is still dropping and has the potential to break through the support that it's currently on, which means we could see much more massive valuations of altcoins while Bitcoin continues to stagnate just a little bit, which is fine because we'll see that trend flip and reverse at some point in time. Money flows back into Bitcoin. We'll see over the next few days. Again, I'm a cautious, patient, consistent trader, and I wait for the market to prove to me what it's doing. I wait for a trend to establish itself, and then I follow it. I've been following this trend. And right now, just waiting. Just waiting. Okay. Let's continue on here a little bit. Now let's go down to the 4-hour time frame, and we're going to switch. And now we're going to look at daily metrics on the 4-hour time frame. Okay. Again, everything that I just did, everything that I'm currently doing right now, you guys can do with the CC EMA script for free. Make sure to go to tv.crackingcryptocurrency. Actually, there's a link in the description. It's better. Use the link. I always say it wrong. There's a link to TradingView down in the description. Feel free to use that. And the time transformation indicator is available to premium subscribers. So anybody who's premium is watching right now can follow along at home, me on one screen, chart on the other. Rewatch at a later time for your convenience. And I go over this, by the way, I go over the multi-time frame feature. If you're a premium member, make sure to check out the premium webinar section, the premium video section. There is a tutorial, an instruction manual in there for time transformation, and I go over the multi-time frame features. Then if you point yourself toward the Ask Me Anythings, which are listed, go to the Ask Me Anythings that have listed basically timestamps and cutouts of every topic that I cover in those Ask Me Anythings. You guys will come across where I specifically go over what timeframes that I like on the, what timeframes I like to correlate for trading Bitcoin. Rich May, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube, my friend. Okay, now, 4-hour time frame, looking at daily metrics, and we do have the breaking Bitcoin indicator pulled open on the 4-hour time frame now, again, on the Bitstamp chart. Now, the 4-hour time frame is, I want to say this, and I don't want this to sound like an oxymoron, but neutrally bullish, with Bitcoin struggling at this current level of resistance at 10,200. Now, we have found support on the 21 daily exponential moving average. We experienced that last week. We came down, tested the 21 exponential moving average, had a nice bounce to the upside. Again, I know some individuals are using the 21 EMA. I've talked about that previously as my tertiary baseline, as opposed to my primary, which is my primary. My secondary being the 55 exponential moving average, 21 acting well You can use these, again, we go over this in the back testing. You can use these as reversal baseline bounces, or you can use these for discretionary position sizing. And if you'd like a walkthrough of discretionary position sizing, I please invite you to watch my Ichimoku video here on YouTube. I cover discretionary position sizing in there for a good 15, 20 minutes, and I really lay it out how to take advantage of that and specifically show examples with the Ichimoku kind of indicator system. So the 4 hour, we are currently above the 4 hour baseline, and we're also above the daily exponential moving averages as well. Now, while the daily time transformation is coiling around the 0 line, the 4 hour time transformation is pushing us into overbought territory. And I don't really see those aggressive, consistently overbought conditions on the meso timeframes, not on the 4 hour, not on the 1 hour timeframe. We also have an early exit indication for long trades on the 4 hour timeframe. We just got that on the previous 4 hour close. And what do we have on the current 4 hour close? Some interesting price action. We come up and we form a wick. We drive a buying impulse above the local high, and it's immediately sold into. Now, the candle hasn't flipped bearish yet, which if it flipped bearish, that would generally be a strong price action short signal. It would essentially be not a swing failure pattern. It would be a raid. So there are two, and there's kind of several schools of thought that make these price action strategies, popular and promulgate these and promote these. And there's there's hundreds of them, but there's two that you'll hear over and over again. And I reference them in my analysis from time to time because it is important to think about the market in terms of liquidity. Where are a lot of stop losses going to be placed? Stop losses are going to be placed above local highs and local lows. They should not be placed at local highs and local lows. Stop losses should be placed somewhere outside of the range of volatility in which you're trading in. Let me explain. If price on average moves up or down $100 and your stop loss is within $100 of price, what does that mean? You have a very high probability for your stop loss to be hit. If, on the other hand, you set your target within the range of volatility that is average for the asset that you're trading, and your stop loss outside of that range, you have now flipped the mathematical odds in your favor, the statistical odds in your favor, that you will hit your take profit before or not at all hitting your stop loss, right? So that's one way to skew the market in your favor, to put the odds in your favor, to stack the deck like a casino, which is the route that we take to consistent profitability in the market. Now, again, a more dramatic sell-off, turning and plunging the current 4 hour candle into a red candle, into a down candle where the close is actually lower than the open, would be more bearish. Again, typically this is going to be your classical price action where we raid a local level of liquidity and then proceed the movement to the downside. We already had, if we look at something like tensor charts, do I have tensor charts pulled open? I don't know why I don't have tensor charts pulled open on the screen. We'll look at tensor charts here in a minute. Let me actually get it pulled up over here. Man, I don't know what it is. In this browser, tensor charts does not like to work. It's working fine over here. Yep, see? It doesn't want to fix. Well, I'm not going to fix it on the fly, but anyways. Okay, so again, I'm not really seeing an aggressive re-entry opportunity here, and I'm more comfortable to stay hedged and actually short and let this play out. All right, currently on 4 hour price action and volatility. All right, now the only thing that I'm going to be watching closely is going to be the time transformation cross back up and cross back into the 0 line on the daily time frame. So we'll be monitoring that later at the end of the day to see if there's anything that would exit a hedge or to even potentially be going long on. But based on what I'm currently seeing in the market, no. I think the current place in the market is to be on the sidelines, which is basically where I'm in, and I'm trading other avenues, other venues. Midwest, you're doing a fantastic job, my friend. You're doing a fantastic job. Okay. Now, turning our eyes to the hot technical news of the day, we have the looming golden cross for Bitcoin. Now, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, and I am macro bullish. And if Bitcoin pops the bubble here on the daily and gives me a beautiful signal, I am happy to release my hedge and ride this rocket for another $3,000 to the upside. Thank you so much for the subscription on YouTube there, my friend. The great. Now, however, historically, if there were a list of things to counter trade for Bitcoin, they would most likely go like this: Peter Schiff, Jamie Dimon, golden and death crosses in Bitcoin. Okay. Now, death crosses are more commonly wrong than golden crosses in Bitcoin, but we're going to go back. We're going to look right now. We're actually going to do some back testing, and further back testing is not even that great. But we're going to take a look at what the evidence says here. So we'll see. So we're going to take everything off the chart except for CC-EMA, and we're going to keep it on the daily. And actually, we can just use current resolution now. And we're going to take everything off except for a 50 SMA and a 200 SMA. And let's auto that out. So as we can see, the golden cross will be confirming on today's daily close, right? And so again, I think that a good extrapolation of this price action that we're seeing is buyers buying in anticipation of the golden cross, and currently the market attempting to sell into them. And we're going to see which side is stronger. We're going to see which side is stronger, which I think is quite interesting. But anyways, let's go back and look. We're on the Bitstamp chart right now on the daily time frame. And we're going to go look. We're going to go back and look. Let's say, so we've got one. We can't test that one because we don't get to see what happens in the future from right now. You guys will have to stay tuned. All right. So we can test this one. That one looks like a winner to me. And then we can go back to, let's put this on logarithmic. We can go back to the last two that occurred over here. Okay. So we're going to do that. We're going to start with the good stuff. Okay. So what do we have right now? We have a potential cross right now. Okay. We have this potential cross. Oh, not even a potential cross. This is going to be confirmed. I mean, Bitcoin would have to dump past, I think, probably like $7,200 to invalidate this at this point in time because it's smooth. So we'd have to have such dramatic price. So we're going to get a golden cross today. It's confirmed. Okay. I've only got a few hours left to go. Now, let's go look at the death cross. I know we're not testing death crosses, but we'll go look at when the death cross confirmed. And you would have basically sold the top. This would have been after that Jericho run up that we had in October of last year. I know a lot of people got slaughtered on this movement because again, one of the logical places to be shorting in this area was to the downside. We had this spring and then a massive explosion back up to the upside that had multiple levels of follow through. All right. Even our systems didn't signal for the long until the close of this candle. But again, able to capture some nice movement thanks to the expansion of the upside. All right, so there's one good case. The death cross did play out well. Okay, and obviously if we go back over here and see, if we look at let's look very closely on what day we actually got it. Would have been this candle right here. This is a golden cross. All right, so you buy the initial impulse of the golden cross here. The very next day you get a time transformation sell signal, interestingly enough. You guys can't see that, but it is right here. Make sure this is on the current time frame. Use current time frame. Yes, daily time frame. And you would have only had about magnet mode off. You would have had a max of about 10% drawdown, 10% movement to the downside following the sell signal from time transformation and following the golden cross, before the follow through. So what was a kind of a good indication after that? Time transformation going above zero. That's going to be a classic buy signal. TK cross breaking above the Kumo cloud, all of these kind of things. To kind of confirm this bullish price action, right? Kind of a level of confirmation on top of the golden cross would have kept you out of that drawdown, right? And honestly, had you buy at a better price anyways. Would have had you buy at a better price. Would have had you buy about 5% lower anyways. All right, so, but overall, we can see if we zoom out though, maybe we're picking apart pennies, that was a good trade. That was a good trade. Good golden cross to the upside. Once we broke back down below the 55 was a pretty good exit signal. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the greatest place to sell it. If you had some pseudo reversal indicator to attempt to catch these tops, that's very tricky and difficult to do, even for professionals, and really not what we do consistently over and over again. We eat for trend following traders like myself, we eat the head, or excuse me, we eat the body of the trade. We leave the head and the tails for reversal traders. So anyways, that's a good trade. All right, let's go back to the previous death cross right here, and we would have got it on this candle right here. Told you to short, and you shorted the bottom, right? You pretty much shorted the bottom, and you would have been in on the entrance on that candle. You would have been in for about 40% drawdown. It's actually a little bit more than that because movement to the upside is not equivalent to movement to the downside. So it would actually be at 30%. Yeah, about 30% drawdown on that particular movement right there. And I don't think that I don't think that many traders are likely to hold or stomach that, right? There's a difference between 5, 10%, 12% drawdown, and 30% drawdown. So unlikely that would have been a winner for you. And what do we see here? After the actual death cross, price went back, retested the 200 simple moving average, rejected, and then it was kind of confirmed by crossing and closing back below the 50 simple moving average. Sorry, we're dealing with SMAs here. Okay. I kind of want to point out that correlation. We didn't really come back and test it here. And when we got the death cross here, again, nice confirmation on breaking below the 200 and breaking below the 55, of course. Okay. So that is one good death cross, one good golden cross with caveat, right? 10% drawdown, but overall good signal. And one bad. Okay. So one bad death cross, one good death cross, one good golden cross so far. Okay. Now we will go and test the last couple golden crosses here. And we have two, right? So let's just focus on this one first. Okay. Here we go. Here's a golden cross right here. This would have got you in right here. And you would have had about 60% to the upside. Keep in mind, this is back in 2015, and I do believe that Bitcoin's market is fundamentally different. So that is the only thing that I want to correlate to this is the dramatic difference in market capitalization and liquidity in this market as we start to go back and look at historical examples. However, they are germane, they are realistic, they are data, and they're all what we have. So what do we see here? Let's see. Was this further? Okay. So this golden cross, one could argue, led to this much more pronounced movement to the upside. Kind of this 149% movement to the upside, right? And possibly even more, right? Possibly even more. We can see that trend just continues all the way up really to the peak in 2017. Okay? Golden cross leads to that. And we do never cross back under. We never do cross back under. So if that's your initiation signal, cool. Overall, again, we can see that depending on when you took the signal, if you took it right on the confirmation, you would have been in line for an immediate 60%. And then price would have basically come back down to your entry, tested the 55, kind of faffed around for a little bit. Again, very long hold, very long positional hold, very long positional hold. Also a good trade. Also a good trade in that particular aspect. And let's go see what happened with this cross right here. All right, so you would have bought, coming off of the bottom on this golden cross, price would have moved basically sideways for about a week. You would have been in line for about a 6% move into the upside, and then you have about a 32% correction to the downside, right? Now, I'm going to stop there because there's a lot more that I want to get to, but if you go look at the previous historical examples of Bitcoin too, these start to stack up more. Again, there's only a few. I think there's two more prior to this, but they start to stack up in the opposite direction. Now, this is better. This is better than the weekly golden crosses as I've covered before, which are terrible. And the 5100 simple moving average golden crosses. So let's see here. So we have, I'm going to consider this one bad, and I'm going to consider this one good. So we have two good golden crosses, one bad golden cross. If I went back farther than this, I could actually make a stronger argument in my favor of being a little neutral on this signal. But what do we see here? We do see something that I think is my takeaway from this, right? 66%. we can't, I don't think it's fair based off of, what did we just look at? Maybe 6 historical examples to form any kind of data or statistics on percent profitability or hit rate based off of this data. However, we can form some broad observations about trends. I think in the realm of trading, 66% is pretty darn good. But for something on, something like the daily time frame like this, we can do better. We can do better. It's better than 50%. It's better than a shot in the dark. But there's not enough data there. There's not enough data to collate to say that this is a valid strategy based on its percent profitability. There's just not enough data, right? In my opinion, to work to form a coherent thesis, to form a coherent model. What we do notice, though, however, is that it does appear to be, or can be, a powerful trending indicator for long-term trends. Essentially, 50 simple moving average above the 200 simple moving average indicates the potential for Bitcoin to do a parabolic run, right? Just as it did in 2019, just as it did from 2015 to 2017. And essentially, you can see that overall, on average, taking taking intra-week trades out of the situation, just looking at these kind of monthly trades or year-to-year trades even, we can see that again, when the 50 simple moving average is below the 200 simple moving average, price action is bearish. And when the 50 simple moving average is above the 200 simple moving average, price action is bullish. And in Bitcoin, that tends to last for quite a while. Tends to be quite pronounced. Again, the movement that we got back from 2015 to 2017, obviously the most impressive run-up in Bitcoin's history. I hope many of you were around for that. Many of us who are still here, and many individuals that got in toward the latter end of that are just kind of now entering their first kind of shot at a real parabolic market. They experienced a little bit in 2019 with the run-up off of the lows of Bitcoin, and the potential is setting up, as we've been talking about, for it to happen again. So what's interesting about this is if we correlate this to my weekly analysis, we talked about, let's take the golden cross off here. So let's wrap this up before we move on to what I'm going to say now. The daily golden crosses in Bitcoin seem to be a good indicator, or seem to be a decent indicator for the potential for long-term parabolic growth. Okay. As far as utilizing them for the basis of a trade, I think that the evidence is too inconclusive. So I think that we already have on this channel, as amateurs, hobbyists, professional traders, and systems traders, all of the individuals in our community, I think we already have systems available to us that perform statistically better than this, that already have us in a trade or looking to enter one based on current market activity. So it is interesting to note. It is interesting to also know what the majority of the retail market is looking at so that you are aware of the psychology of the retail market. And it's also good to be aware of what the institutional market wants to do in response to what the retail market wants to do. So always keep that in your mind, that you want to be ahead of the curve. You don't want to be the curve. So with that being said, I'm going to say that is interesting, and we're going to come back to that. Again, good for long-term trend possibility. I would not take a trade based off of it. Now, we talked about the weekly trend of the breaking Bitcoin indicator a while ago. So here we are on the weekly time frame. The time transformation, which is based off the Fisher algorithm, is just pushing its head into overbought territory. We talked about the acceleration effect. Wada-Atari explosion is still giving us a rising explosion level above all major moving averages, above the continuation line of the breaking Bitcoin indicator, and the breaking Bitcoin indicator is also bullish. All right, so we are still macro bullish above 92.19. Macro bullish above 92.19. Which means if you are trading based off of weekly timeframes or trends, you don't need to do anything. The entry signal was down here on the 6th, and you are waiting for those trends. And this golden cross is just kind of another confirmation kind of in your pocket. So it's very important that I'm giving you the best accurate possible information that I can, that I right now, for the 90th time, probably not for the last time, explain the difference between investment capital and trading capital. And if you want a good answer to this, I highly recommend going to the website. We have a frequently asked questions page on our website, crackingcryptocurrency.com. Link in the description down below. Resources, FAQ, frequently asked questions. I feel like I'm getting cut off. Am I getting cut off? Am I standing too close to the camera? And trading related questions, you can jump right down here. And what's the difference between trading and investing? And what's the importance of segregating investment capital from trading capital? And I go into this all the time. So for premium members, they are aware of the portfolios that I created. For individuals that know me and trade with me, or even who watch the show, you guys know that I have a long-term portfolio, I have investments, and then I have my trading capital. And I do not mix the two, okay? I am a buy and hold investor. I invest in things that I believe have long-term fundamental value and that I plan on holding until I die or bequeathing them to my youth. It depends on how quickly altered carbon becomes a reality, okay? So there's that, but it's very important to segregate investment capital from trading capital. So from a trader's perspective, I'm on the fence about the current volatility of Bitcoin, about the current market direction of Bitcoin. But from a fundamental and long-term perspective, I am quite positive, quite aggressive on Bitcoin's growth over the next 2 years, particularly. And in the altcoin sector over the next 18 months, let's say. Okay. All right. With that being said and out of the way, we'll wrap that up. We'll just summarize again the daily time frame here quickly. Daily time frame gave us the exit signal on daily positions over here on the 15th, the closure and breakage of that trending indication, basically the breakage of the baseline for those of you using the HMA 60, or for those of you using the EMA 13 or the Donchian 30, doesn't matter, all roughly in the same position. I would just argue the HMA is a little bit more sensitive. Would have given us a good entry into a hedge here. Hedge is currently in drawdown, but again, let me rephrase here. When we're looking at USD equity, which I pay my bills in USD, so that's all I care about when I'm looking at my trading capital is its USD value. If I'm worried about the amount of Bitcoin that I have, I buy more and I put it in my ledger. So that's protected. So this puts us in a unique position to be passive and be calm and watch the market. Now, I essentially shorted the daily close yesterday. Was a little, just a tiny bit too early. I should have waited for the daily close, but that's okay. I would have gotten a better average price. However, I digress. So I am currently waiting for this to play out below the baseline. And with the daily currently in a state of indecision. However, the weekly looking good. And I consider that golden cross a good signal. Again, not something that I want to trade off of, or that I want to influence my current open positions in the market, but in a way to give a little bit more credence to my long-term fundamental biases and positions in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So good stuff. And then quickly, before we get into the kind of hot tickers of the day, we're going to be looking here again at the 4-hour time frame. Still have this raid in effect with the exit signal. We are still above the continuation line, holding above 10,083, and then kind of breaching and closing the 4-hour above this current level of resistance around 10,200. Might be an aggressive price action signal or re-entry signal for those looking to aggressively go long or take longs kind of shrouded in their hedge, which is fine. Also, it's fine if you're unhedged. Again, your personal decision. But breaking 10,083 on the 4-hour close here, I think is going to be a negative sign and potentially put us in for a redip back to 97.02, maybe 9,800, depending on where we kind of settle down there, which will be roughly around TP1 for the premium members. Anyways, having said that, let's take a look at markets. Let's take a look at the broader market here in the form of crypto bubbles. Make sure we give this thing a refresh. And we are looking at USD valuations right here. So we can see big movers of the day roughly are going to be Tezos, Siacoin, Engine, Algo, and of course, Icon, the darling of the crypto market, on everybody's radars right now. And turning to anything Turning to what we know about Icon, kind of flipping over the fundamentals here. Here's an official tweet from Icon, right? Or this is ICX Comics, actually. These are daily statistics. Again, doesn't seem to be any particularly powerful or positive fundamentals today behind ICX. There's a talk about a coin proposal, or excuse me, our proposal, but this is just ICX Comics, excuse me. But this is just Icon's daily statistics, market cap, high, circulating supply, total staked, unstaking, total voted reward, et cetera, et cetera. Looking over here, we can see daily transactions on ICX kind of reaching near all-time highs or all-time highs. ICX is top once again on Binance, looking at USDT pairs and 24-hour change. Icon pushing its way back up to the top of the markets. And again, over here, same thing over here on Luna Crush, volume 24-hour ranking. It's the top altcoin in 24-hour volume ranking. So just kind of not self-fulfilling prophecy, but just kind of, exuberance at how well we're performing. A lot of kind of like back clapping going on over there. Turning our eyes to the charts, of course. Looking at Icon, USDT. So, again, as I said, nothing too special. Just the official Icon Twitter stating that their daily statistics are the best performers of the day. And, obviously a lot of exuberance about being number 1% on the Binance coin leaderboards. Now, from a technical perspective here, from an analytical perspective, I would say that this is not a trending buy. Again, Icon broke the bullish trend over here when it crashed down below the continuation filter, and it also crashed down below my trending filter as well, the daily baseline. Okay, that was on the 15th of February. We are 5 days later, pretty much going to be the 20th tomorrow. Today is the 19th candle, so we'll be opening up the 20th candle tonight, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. 11:59 UTC, of course. Now, we do need to actually close the daily above 47.83 cents, so 0.4783 to get trending continuation longs to the downside. As we can see, we got beautiful entry signals from both run-ups here in Icon. Time transformation beautifully nailing the top, with, however, I will say the breaking Bitcoin giving the early exit signal in a more consistent fashion, because we can see that time transformation, again, what did I say about momentum oscillators and coming out of periods of tight contraction and then getting expansion? We need to be cautious about those first signals. But again, breaking Bitcoin, getting us out here, re-entry here, and getting us out here beautifully. Now, it did give us a re-entry. We just got a re-entry here on this time frame. Now that it is actually above the continuation filter, this is actually now more valid for a trade. The only thing that I'm a little cautious about here is that we've had this nice little sell-off in ICX. We broke the boundary of the daily baseline, and essentially what we're looking for now is a new initial signal. There's a couple things we need for that. We need volume and volatility. If we look at WADA Atar Explosion, WADA Atar Explosion has largely kept us out of the market. We can see that it's basically flatlined since the 10th, which is fine because there was no trade on the table unless you had an ability to short Icon. So it kept us out, gave us the beautiful exit signal here while we were above the continuation filter, let price grind itself out, have this nice little dip down. So I will say that on the kind of fundamental news, we do know something about cryptocurrency. Hype can continue to go on for quite a while. So I would not ignore the fundamentals on this, but looking at the technicals, it allows me to, if I were to take an Icon trade, take it with a little bit less risk, right? We are above the continuation filter. We will get a confirmed signal above 47.83. or 0.4783, USDT, which will be good. And if we can get a bullish WADA column on top of that and time transformation crossing zero, that will all be good. That will all collate into a beautiful initial buy signal. Now, again, if one wants to be aggressive in this altcoin market, I could see taking a tentative reversal buy here, but at half of your regular reduced risk for a trade, maybe even a quarter. And then you can scale into that position as we actually start breaking the trending boundaries. All right. So not something I'm going to recommend for a newer trader, a little too riskier, but for those of you who have been practicing building your systems for a while and you've got it down pat, I think this is a potential, again, tentative reversal buy at reduced risk. Okay. Utilizing Quadriga ATR, whatever your personal stop and target system is. So it's a tentative buy for me. Icon is a tentative buy. We'll check back in a day or two, see if we actually get a little bit of follow through and can establish a new bullish trend and kind of a third leg out of Icon's recent price move. But hats off to the Icon team. Congratulations. Looking at top coin number 2 today is going to be Algorand. Algorand having some nice big movements today. Now, Algorand is actually a strong buy for me. This is a strong buy. Algorand is part of my portfolio. I had a chance to sit down with Silvio McCauley, the founder of Algorand. I interviewed him at San Francisco Blockchain Week. That interview is live here on our YouTube. You can check it out in the Crypto Currently playlist. If you don't know anything about Algorand, I do recommend checking that out. It's a pretty cool project. Silvio McCauley it's a genius. It was honestly a pleasure to sit down with a man of his caliber and pedigree. Now on looking at the technicals of Algo, again, kind of a similar situation. Nice bullish upswing, time transformation being a little bit too overbought as a momentum oscillator, but that's okay. We have the breaking Bitcoin, and we also know to ignore the first one or two signals. All right. And as I've talked about this before, price coming back down below, often the better signal than the immediate crossover. However, I digress. As we can see here, we never lost the macro bullish trend. We did lose the continuation trend, though. We broke down here below the continuation filter, which generated this exit signal right here. And now we are breaking back above the continuation filter with this is not an entry signal, it's an exit signal for shorts, right? That's how it works. Not an entry signal, it's an exit signal for shorts. But the fact that we're getting WADA confirmation, we're getting a nice bullish crossover on time transformation, and the fact that we're breaking back above the continuation filter, having never lost the macro bullish trend, I think that this bodes quite well for Algorand. We have these nice bull wicks down here, nice basically reversion to the mean, and we have a new wave of buying impetus stepping in. I think this will accelerate if we can get a daily close above our previous daily high closes at 3883. So overall, this looks quite good. Thank you to the subs on YouTube, MGTW Photo and Elias. Thank you guys so much for joining the community. All right. So again, Algorand to me is a strong buy right now. Our third coin of the day is going to be Sia Coin. Now Sia Coin, listen, I think that, it's kind of funny. Sia Coin. Sia Coin is funny because I have a few friends who mine Ethereum, and using Claymore, they would always mine Sia Coin, or they used to always mine Sia Coin. So they just accumulated these massive bags of Sia Coin for mining Ethereum, right? And, they used to kind of laugh about it like, Sia Coin's that coin that's like never going to do anything or never going to go anywhere. Their portfolios are looking better because Sia Coin up about 200% from the lows that we experienced just a while ago. Now, obviously, if we, kind of zoom out, it's not too much to be excited about. We've got a long way to go, right? And I'm pretty sure that those guys were mining back in, again, 2018. But hey, I digress. Anyways, Sia Coin. Now, this is going to be a little too aggressive for me. That's a really big, nice, beautiful, bullish candle. I like it. If you're regressive, I say go for it. But this is far above the median, so a pullback on this particular trade is more likely, in my opinion. Now, this is still bullish. I think Sia Coin's still bullish. It seems like an aggressive entry for me. It seems like a little too close to a local high for me. Again, maybe just a little bit of sticker shock looking at the price is a possibility here. But again, we don't have continuation validity. We did get, if we just crunch the technicals here, we never lost the macro bullish trend. We did cross back above the continuation filter here, which is not exactly what we got here. We did see the pullbacks. We did see, if you guys can see, the continuation filter flip golden here and here, telling you that you're in range for a continuation trade. And then we kind of wait through a follow through on that. We do have a natural volume on time transformation and the cross back over to the upside on this current candle. So as I said, if you would have bought the daily candle close, you are already in for a little bit of pullback. And I think pullback is likely based on how far away we are from our trend line, from our median line, from our baseline right now, okay? We've talked about the qualifying line. So we're a little too high. So if one is going to aggressively take Sia Coin, they have to do it with reduced risk. It's just moved a little too far for the optimum trading entry. Now, for those of you holding Sia Coin, again, we're going to step somewhere different here. We're going to look at longer term trends here. For those holding Sia Coin, I don't see any exit signal currently. Again, here's the exit signal for shorts. We haven't gotten the exit signal for longs on the daily time frame, and you really should be watching the weekly, if not the 2-day or the 3-day, if not the weekly, depending on how much market data you have available to you. For example, this is SCU SDT. We don't have all the market data available to us possible. Not too bad since we do stretch back to 2018 as opposed to some of these altcoins, which always get the point. But those are the time frames you want to be watching for your positional trades. Okay, those are our big movers of the day. So congratulations to ICX, Algo, and Saya coin holders. Hats off to you guys. All right, with that being said, guys, I want to break down today's news. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's hop into today's cryptocurrency segment. Let's go. Hey, who forgot to hit a button? Man. All right. So, back in the news, but we are going to be doing the news. So the first thing I want to mention, of course, is Binance was down for a little bit of maintenance this morning. And of course, the tweets about the conspiracy theories are going to be popping around. But this from Binance's official announcement, Binance announcing temporary system maintenance is complete. Now, what is interesting, it seems to me that they will be able to begin canceling their orders, processing deposits, trading on C2C, lending and redemptions, asset transfers, use of all other account-related functions, and withdrawals will be resumed shortly after trading starts. So I know that this came online just shortly before the show, actually about an hour before the show, but overall looking pretty good. By the way, thank you guys for reminding me. I just saw somebody in there talking about lemons. So in the interest of not losing my VLive audience, I will feed you because you are hungry and delicious. All right, much love, guys. Let's do 100 today. All right, let's see here. So again, Binance is back up. I'm not sure if withdrawals have been enabled yet, but I do know that I believe that canceling orders is resumed, processing deposits. I do not know. Yes. Okay. So everything is back up. Everything is back up. We're good to go. But of course, this caused a little bit of controversy. Now, CZ tweeting out, in final steps of restoring the systems, ETA 20 minutes to start allowing cancellations and live trading 30 minutes after that. Exact time may still vary a bit, waiting for official announcement coming soon. They said futures trading was not affected. This was just the regular Binance platform. Check last time they were rumored to be hacked. What happened with the top cryptos in the market? In 50 minutes, everybody panicked and fled. Looking at some of the start to the alt season. Funds are Safu. Dump. It's confirmed it's alt season. Live from the Binance office right here. Oh, good stuff, guys. Bitcoin's heart stopped. Nice conspiracy theories. Okay. Every time there's maintenance, it equals a pump day. All right. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, man. Who invented GIFs? Funds are Safu. No need to panic. Almost there, guys. All right, so our first story of the day, by the way, is going to be how much Bitcoin do you need to actually be in the 1% club, right? To actually be in the 1% club of Bitcoin. So this is kind of an interesting idea that came across the desk. And so we're going to kick it around today. And we're actually going to kind of dig and kind of dive down this Bitcoinist article and see what information we have. All right, so again, this comes from the Bitcoinist. Apparently, it only takes 0.28 Bitcoin. Interestingly enough, with Bitcoin's recent price spike, sorry. Now, with Bitcoin's recent price spike, trading above 10,000, and overall, really just the expansion of the market in this recent season, kind of after the reaccumulation range that I talked about in between the 6,500s and the 7,500s, this left a lot of folks regretting that they didn't buy in and accumulate a significant position in Bitcoin before price began appreciating to the point where owning even one whole Bitcoin starts to become a distant possibility for most people. It's a $10,000 sticker shock, man. But before you get too down on yourself, accordingly, one Blockworks Group analyst is saying that someday in the future, you will only need about 0.28 Bitcoin to be in the top 1% richest of the world, at least in terms of quantity of Bitcoin. Now, despite the US regulatory crackdown looming on cryptocurrency with new FinCEN rules ready to break up the party, a bullish sentiment seems to be prevailing in the space, with on-chain data suggesting that many are still accumulating, but others point to less than 2% of all addresses holding one Bitcoin or more. Now, of course, while this metric doesn't account for how many hold more than one Bitcoin spread out over multiple addresses, many do estimate the actual number of people who own a whole Bitcoin is really quite small, somewhere between only 500,000 and 1 million people. Well, therefore, there is apparently no need for despair if you're not even holding one full Bitcoin, or even if you did at some point, but blew it all on altcoin bags. What little you have left may be enough to make your parents proud someday. Now, analyst Jake Levison is stating that all it takes is really just 0.28 BTC. But how did the Blockworks Group analyst reach his conclusions? When is this scenario likely to occur when Bitcoin has appreciated so significantly that even a quarter of a whole Bitcoin could be life-changing? Now, according to one Twitter user, it's based on research published by Unchained Capital's Parker Lewis, titled Bitcoin Obsoletes All Money. Now, in it, Lewis posts a graphic showing that this could possibly be the case sometime after the year 2030. At this point, average user holdings are projected to be around 0.001 Bitcoin, or just 100,000 Satoshis, and there are 1 billion users on the network. However, according to Levison, if you've got 0.28 Bitcoin, the future is on now, explaining what he meant in a recent tweet, saying, quote, "From now until the end of time," let me find it here actually, quote, "From now until the end of time, my tweet was saying that if you did own 0.28 Bitcoin, only 1% of the world will ever be able to own more than you, hence putting you in the top 1%. Or, as Twitter user BTC Chris pointed out, unpopular opinion, no more than 5 to 10 million people will ever own a full Bitcoin. Between whales, hodlers, nations, and institutions, there won't be many left to go around. Factor in lost coins and there's even less. Whole coiners will be rare indeed. Now, while this does imply what some consider an unfair distribution of wealth, with whales, hodlers, nations, and institutions hoarding the lion's share of Bitcoin, this sort of scarcity may mean the latecomers and your financially challenged fellowmen may not ever join the 1% club of those who own just 0.28 BTC sometime in the future, which I'm going to assume most of you have. Still, if you need a personal self-esteem boost for today, or maybe you're not even feeling good, maybe you're even feeling a little bit down about not going all in at the 3K bottom, you can still potentially consider yourself among the blessed and fortunate 1% with just a mere balance of 0.28 BTC today, or just about $2,835 worth of dollar equity in Bitcoin as of today, right? So I know that I talk to a lot of individuals and they set their sights at, I got to own one Bitcoin. I need to own one whole Bitcoin. And I think that's a great task. But as that sticker shock gets higher, again, I don't think that anybody needs to feel bad about having 0.28. Just get 0.28. Just get 0.28. Stick it in a ledger, throw it in your sock drawer, and forget about it for 10 years. Forget about it for 10 years. And we'll see. We'll see if this is as life-changing as Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. Now, if your goal is to own a whole coin someday, you may need to start putting those sats away soon, because the window of affordable Bitcoin may be quickly closing. As always, please let me know your thoughts, your opinions, your sarcastic remarks, your comments, or your death threats on today's news segment in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel with the bell icon. Otherwise, you won't be notified when we go live every single day. And I have been told that it does improve happiness by hitting the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm by 90% on occasion. By 90% on occasion. Yes, Big Saintsy, do not forget the password. Do not forget the password. So are you in the Bitcoin 1%? Let us know in the comments down below. We're going to be starting a new comment giveaway next week. I'll let you guys know. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. All right, with that being said, it is 1:04, guys. It is 1:04. And we have a ton of questions and answers. I apologize, but I've got to cut today's show short. I have so much to do with my team. Let me just quickly look and see. Okay. Let me see if I can run through this real quick. GBU Professor Wally, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. My brother, he says, kudos for the new shout out panel. Later, please take a look at Grayscale, ETH again, and GBDC for our institutional brothers coming in and joining the crypto family. I won't be able to do any chart requests today, brother. I am sorry. Maybe just one for you because I love you so much. There's Grayscale Ethereum Trust on the daily time frame is continuing its bullish expansion. We do have a confirmed continuation signal today from time transformation, giving us the crossover. We got the continuation over here from the time transformation sell-off, bringing us down into the continuation barrier. Still a macro bullish trend, still quite bullish on Grayscale Ethereum above 90.5096, closing below 90.50. It's going to put us in a no trade zone down to 62.86. But as long as we hold 62.86, very, very bullish. Please, institutional brothers, please, please, please pay that premium. GBDC. GBDC gave us the exit signal over here. We are back above the continuation filter. And we do have a valid cross up on this candle right here. GBDC. I want to do some further analysis here because there's some discretionary factors. So please, come for tomorrow's show. I'll do a more pronounced Q&A segment, but I've got the community mentoring session here in an hour. Thank you again, my friend. Shout out to you and Gunbot University. Hopefully you guys are crushing it. Mr. Unicorn says, hey man, cheers for the divergence info yesterday on yesterday's show. Helped put a few things straight for me. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the question. Let's see here. Wendy, let's check those ETFs out tomorrow. Jake Rezio, Tezos is acting crazy. One of the favorite portions of my portfolio right now. And let's see here. And a buy today. Wayne Arndt says, can I look at XMR USD later? Don't do anything with it. Ricky T, question for Justin. For scalping stocks on a very low time frame, what moving average would a user suggest? For example, the 3-minute time frame, the 9 EMA. No, something like the 100. You need, if you're on the low time frames and you want to catch trends, you have to have a very, very long moving average. Nothing shy of 20, but preferably nothing shy of 50. Farbod, hi Justin, could you talk about ETH bull and ETH bear, and is it worth to hold instead of Ethereum? It's essentially taking margin on your position. So since I don't trade on FTX, I would prefer not to. I would just prefer to take a leverage position, which I feel gives me more control. Interesting. I mean, interesting tokens to hold. I would recommend researching how they're rebalanced because they have this kind of unique offsetting thing that they do every single day at the daily close. Joseph, Justin, do I believe in harmonic patterns? I do not. They've never worked for me, and I've never seen them work consistently for other people. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. I am your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, please leave them in the comments section down below, and we'll do our best to get back to you within the next time. Yeah, we'll get back to you. If you guys have not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel with the bell icon so you get notified every time we go live. We are here every single day. You can also support us. Oh, I got it right. You can also support us on our socials over here. We are quite active on the Twitter, the Instagram, and whatever you do. Make sure to hop in the Discord so you guys can stay up to date, so you guys can receive free signals and you guys can stay up to date with everything that's breaking in the cryptocurrency markets. I will be back here tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin, and we'll see what kind of follow through we get on this golden cross. Of course, if you guys have any questions or you guys would like some personal guidance on your journey toward consistently profitable trading, make sure to check out everything that we do as a company at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Trade safely, be awesome to one another, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Be good. See you in the Discord. I'm also opening the chest right now, so don't go anywhere. Opening the chest.